All right, deputies, can you all hear me?
Yes, Your Honor, jail can hear you. We are lining up all the inmates at this time.
I'm sorry, what was that?
Apologize. We're lining everybody up right now.
Okay, let me know when you're ready.
Yes, sir.
Good morning, Your Honor.
Good morning, Ms. Toles. Ms. Toles, I think we've got at least two this morning.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
We are just about ready, Your Honor.
All right. All right, ladies and gentlemen, can you all hear me?
Yes, I can.
All right. Well, it is 11:02 a.m. this morning on March 3rd, and this is the Clayton County first appearance here this morning. My name is Judge Marcus Thorpe, and we are streaming live here on YouTube. Again, as I said, today is March 3rd of 2024. Ladies and gentlemen, as we go through this process, both before we start and during, if you're having trouble hearing me, please let me know. Because there's a few things I'm going to go over with you before and during, and so I will need to make sure that you understand the nature and the purpose of today's proceeding. First and foremost, you're going to hear me say this a couple of times, take a plea. I'm not here to have really any legal discussions with you about the specific facts of your case. My sole goal are these things. I'm here this morning to inform you of what you've been charged with, to advise you of the rights you have, to set bond on those offenses for which the court is authorized to do so. I'm here to schedule your preliminary hearing, and then to determine whether or not you need the assistance of an attorney. Now, each of you, as I mentioned, does have rights. Most importantly, you have the right to remain silent. So again, as I said before, please do not attempt to talk to me about your case or any defense you believe you have, because as I said, this is live, it's being recorded, and anything you say can be used against you, not only by the people surrounding you, that means the deputies, that means other inmates, but you do have a few people here online as well who may hear things that you don't want them to hear. Now, there are other rights you have. You have the right to a presumption of innocence. You have the right to a grand jury for a felony or accusation for misdemeanors. You have a right to a speedy and public trial by jury. You have the right to compel the attendance of witnesses to testify on your own behalf. You have the right to see, hear, and question witnesses who are called to testify against you. You have the right to testify on your own behalf or offer evidence in your own defense. You have the right to have an attorney represent you. And if you can't afford an attorney, one can be appointed to you if you qualify. And if there is anyone here who is not a citizen, please understand that if you're not a citizen, some of these charges we may discuss this morning may adversely affect your immigration status, and therefore you should speak to an attorney about that. Now, as I told each of you, I'm going to talk to you about what you've been charged with, and we're going to talk about bond. There are three ways that those of you all who are allowed to post bond will be able to do so. You can post bond by cash, commercial, or property. If you post a cash bond, that means someone will deliver the full amount of the bond in cash to the sheriff's office with any fees that they charge, and the sheriff's office will hold that bond until your case is closed. The example I use is if you're charged with battery family violence and your bond is $6,000 and you or someone you know has $6,000 plus sheriff's fees, the sheriff will hold that money till your case closes and you'll be out on bond. Now, the second way, if you don't have the full amount in cash, you can use a bonding company. So again, if your bond is $6,000 with a bonding company, you'd only have to come up with about 15%, which means you'd only come up with about $750 to pay the bond, and the rest will be paid by the bonding company. Now, the big difference between using a bonding company and cash bond, you don't get that $650 or so back when you use a bonding company. You get it back if you pay it all in cash. Now, the third way you can make bond is by use of a property bond. A property bond would be someone coming down here on your behalf and bringing the deed to their home, their house, their apartment, their condo, or what have you. And then the sheriff would hold on to that for them so long as they have 3 times the equity in their house as your bond. So if your bond is $6,000, they would need at least $18,000 worth of equity in their home to use that to post your bond. Now, in addition to the amount of your bond, some of you will have additional special conditions that prohibit you from contacting people or going to certain places. If I tell you that you have a no contact provision on your bond this morning, this means you must stay away and have no contact with the alleged victim. You may not call, text, email, write a letter to, or contact through any social media platform at all. You can't even do something as nice as write a song for them if you so choose. Now, there are some of you, I'm going to tell you that you can't return to particular places. That means you can't go back to that location for any reason. If I tell you this morning that you aren't allowed to go back to a place that you live at or lived at before this happened, I will instruct you that should you get out on bond, you can go with the sheriff within 10 days of your release to that property to get your items. You can't go there alone, but if I tell you you can't go and you get out on bond, please get with the sheriff within 10 days of your release so that they can go to that home with you. Please understand, I'm giving you these rules because if you violate the bond orders that I'm going to set this morning and the court considers your contact intimidating or harassing, you could receive an additional felony charge such as aggravated stalking or influencing a witness. And these types of charges carry up to 20 years in custody and a $20,000 fine. Also, please let me remind you all that if your alleged victim is a spouse, family member, or friend, and they want to come down and post your bond, they cannot. Because again, you're to have no contact with them as a part of your bond order. So that means they're not allowed to contact you while you're in jail. Now, there will be some of you all that are charged with offenses for which this court is not authorized to set bail. And in this event, I will tell you that this morning, and I will give you the date before a judge of Superior Court of Clayton County at which you will appear. There are also at least one of you all that are on active probation this morning that I'm also not allowed to set bond for. Whether bond is appropriate in those cases will be considered after your probation officer has had an opportunity to consider your new arrest. Now, the last thing I want to talk to you all before we get started here is preliminary hearing. For those of you all charged with felonies, you're automatically going to have what is called a preliminary hearing, where you, your attorney, and the judge are present to go over the evidence to make sure there's enough evidence against you for your case to proceed to the prosecutor. If you are charged with a misdemeanor, battery, family violence, simple battery, traffic charges, DUI, you're not guaranteed that hearing. If you want that hearing, you will have to tell me so this morning. Judge, I want that preliminary hearing. Because you have an option. You can say, Judge, I don't want it, in which case your case will move a little faster and I'll send it to the prosecutor directly. Or you can say, Judge, I do want my preliminary hearing, and then I will set that court date for you this morning as we go through it. Now, with that, ladies and gentlemen, I am going to go ahead and administer the oath to each of you. And so if I could have everyone please raise their right hand. Do you swear or affirm that the information that you're about to give to this court, as well as any information you provided on your application for court-appointed counsel, is true and correct? And if so, say I do.
I do.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, you can put your hands down. Deputy, I understand we do have 2 Spanish speakers. I believe I had a Mr. Luis.
Yes.
Mora,
Yes, Your Honor.
and the other one I had was a female, Yasmin Cataline.
Yeah, she's right here.
We don't have a male.
We don't have any male Spanish speakers, but we just have that one female right here.
Also, Luis Mora, did that person make bond?
Oh, no, he's still here.
Okay, I had a note he was also
You speak English good?
But he said he speak English. That's
One
why-
moment, Jan. You understand English real good?
You understand it? A little bit.
Do you want to translate? Do you feel like you need a translator?
If he's saying a little bit, I'd rather do that just for protect
Yeah.
him.
All the males can step back in yourselves.
Okay, and so that is Mr. Luis there?
Yes.
Okay. All right. So what we're gonna do, if I could just Ms. Toles, go ahead and swear you in. Ms. Toles, do you swear or affirm the translation that you're gonna provide here this morning from English to Spanish and Spanish to English will be the truth, so help you God?
I do, Your Honor.
All right. Ms. Toles, if you would go ahead and introduce yourself to these individuals.
Hola, buenos días. Hoy día les voy a servir de intérprete. Mucho gusto. Go ahead, Your Honor.
All right. Good morning, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Judge Thorpe.
Buenos días, señores. Yo soy el juez Thorpe.
Hey, Rob.
I am here this morning to tell you about each of you what you've been charged with and to talk to you about the next steps in your case.
Estoy aquí esta mañana para informarles de los cargos que se han formulado en su contra y para informarles de los próximos pasos en su caso.
Now, most importantly, I need for you both to remember this is being recorded, so please keep in mind and be careful about what you and I talk about this morning.
De suma importancia es que tengan presente que esta audiencia se está grabando, así que tengan mucho cuidado, por favor, con lo que vayan a decir, porque lo que diga se puede tomar en su contra.
Each of you has the right to remain silent.
Cada uno de ustedes tiene el derecho a permanecer en silencio.
You have the right to the presumption of innocence.
Tiene el derecho a la presunción de inocencia.
You have a right to an attorney. You cannot afford one. I can one for you this morning.
Tienen el derecho a un abogado. Si no pudiera costear el servicio de un abogado, yo podría designarle uno hoy día.
You have a right to either a grand jury for felonies or an accusation for misdemeanors.
Tiene el derecho a la presentación de cargos de delitos mayores por parte del gran jurado o de acusaciones por delitos menores.
You have the right to compel the attendance of witnesses to testify on your own behalf or on your behalf.
Tiene el derecho a exigir la presencia de testigos para que declaren a nombre suyo.
You have the right to see, hear, and question witnesses who are called to testify against you.
Tiene también el derecho a ver, a escuchar e interrogar los testigos que se presenten a declarar en su contra.
You have the right to testify on your own behalf or offer evidence in your own defense.
Tienen el derecho de declarar a nombre suyo o presentar pruebas en su defensa.
Also, if you are not a citizen, please keep in mind that some of these charges may adversely affect your status. And so if that is the case, you may want to consider speaking with an immigration attorney.
Además, si no tuviera la ciudadanía estadounidense, algunos cargos podrían afectar negativamente su estatus inmigratorio. Entonces, si ese es su caso, tal vez quisiera consultar con un abogado en derecho inmigratorio.
Now, in addition to your bond amount, I am going to go over with each of you what you've been charged with as well.
Aparte de informarle de cuánto es la fianza, voy a repasar con cada uno de ustedes los cargos imputados.
And at least one of you has a special condition on your bond that I'm going to talk to you about as well.
Por lo menos uno de ustedes tiene una fianza que conlleva una condición especial, la cual les voy a explicar también.
And so what that means is I may tell you not to go back to a certain place. And if I do that, that means until your case is closed, you are not to return to that location.
Eso lo que significa es que si yo le diga que no vuelva a un lugar en particular, eso significa que no puede volver ahí hasta que el caso se concluya.
If I tell you that you are to have no contact with the person involved in your case, that means, again, you are not to have any contact at all with that person.
Si yo le digo que no tenga contacto con la persona involucrada en su caso, eso significa que no puede tener ningún contacto en absoluto con esa persona.
Your failure to abide by these provisions that we will discuss can result in a new arrest for a felony, as well as prison time and a $20,000 fine.
Incumplimiento con estas disposiciones de la fianza puede resultar en que los arrestan nuevamente, se le formule cargos mayores adicionales y una pena de cárcel o $20,000 de prisión. Perdón, $20,000 de multa.
Now, lastly, with each of you, we're going to talk about what are called preliminary hearings.
Por último, con ustedes quisiera hablar sobre lo que se llama la audiencia preliminar.
At a preliminary hearing, this is not your trial, but you are present, your attorney, and the judge.
En una audiencia preliminar, la cual no es su juicio, usted estará presente, su abogado también y el juez.
And at that hearing, this is where the attorney, yourself, and the police officer discuss whether there is enough evidence in your case for it to move forward.
Entonces, durante la audiencia es donde usted, su abogado y el agente de policía hablan de que si existen suficientes pruebas para que su caso siga adelante.
Now, for each of you, I am going to give you the option, because you are charged with misdemeanors, to either have the hearing if you so choose, or you will have the option to waive the hearing if you would like to do that instead.
A cada uno de ustedes les voy a dar la opción de, como ustedes solamente se le han imputado delitos menores, la opción a tener la audiencia, si quisiera tenerla, o la opción a renunciar a la audiencia.
And so now at this point, I'm going to take you each one by one so that I can speak to you directly.
Entonces ahora voy a hablar con cada uno de ustedes individualmente y hablar directamente con cada uno.
Okay. And so first, I would like to speak to Miss Yasmin, if that's okay.
Primero voy a hablar con la señora Jasmine, si está bien.
Step right here, missing.
All right. So Miss Yasmin, you are charged with one count of battery, family violence.
Bueno, señora Jasmine, a usted se le imputa un cargo de acometimiento, violencia en el hogar.
You are charged with one count of cruelty to children in the 3rd degree.
Un cargo de maltrato de menores en el 3er grado.
And you are charged with one count of criminal trespass.
Y se le imputa un cargo de intrusión ilegal.
Okay. Now, Miss Yasmin, from what I have here, are you currently working?
De la información que tengo aquí delante, señora Jasmine, ¿está usted trabajando actualmente?
Sí,
Yes.
And how much money do you earn per month?
¿Y cuánto está ganando al mes, señora?
como $400 a la semana.
Around $400 a week.
So, Miss Yasmin, I am going to appoint you a lawyer to help you free of charge on your case.
Entonces, señora Jasmine, le voy a designar un abogado de oficio para que le ayude gratuitamente en su caso.
Okay. Now, as far as a bond, on the battery family violence, your bond is $3,500.
En cuanto a la fianza para el cargo de acometimiento, violencia en el hogar es $3,500.
For the criminal trespass, your bond is $3,500.
Por lo de intrusión ilegal, la fianza es de $3,500.
And for the cruelty to children, your bond is also $3,500.
Y también el cargo de maltrato de menores en el 3er grado conlleva una fianza de $3,500.
Your total bond then is $10,500.
Entonces la fianza total se le fija a $10,500.
Now, you will have a special condition to stay away from Juan Chavez.
Su fianza conlleva una condición especial de mantenerse alejado de Juan Chávez.
And you will have to stay away from 7479 Carlisle Drive.
Y que no regrese a 7479 de la Carlisle Drive.
And so if that's where you were living before, ma'am, please keep in mind that you can only return if you go with the sheriff's office.
Si ahí es donde usted vivía anteriormente, tenga presente que usted solamente puede volver ahí acompañado de un alguacil de la oficina de alguaciles.
All right. Now, lastly, Ms. Yasmin, about the hearing that I talked about, preliminary hearing, would you like to have that hearing or waive that hearing?
Por último, señora Jasmine, con respecto a la audiencia preliminar que mencioné, ¿quisiera usted tener la audiencia o renunciarla?
Ah, pero ¿esa a qué se refiere? No
But
entendí bien, perdón.
what does that mean? I did not understand. I'm sorry.
So because you're charged with misdemeanors, you can have a hearing where you, your attorney, and the lawyer are present. Excuse me, you, your attorney, and the judge are present to go over your case, or I can move it quicker and send it to the prosecutor without the hearing.
Como usted solamente tiene cargos menores imputados, puede tener una audiencia donde usted, su abogado y el juez están presentes para hablar sobre su caso. O, en lugar de la audiencia, yo puedo enviar el caso directamente a la Procuraduría.
Estoy segura, pues sí, que tenga la audiencia preliminar.
Oh, yes, I'll have the preliminary hearing.
So I'm going to go ahead and set your preliminary hearing date, ma'am, for April 9th at 8:30 a.m. And that's going to also be via Zoom. However, if you make your bond, your new court date will be sent to you in the mail.
Entonces voy a fijar la fecha de la audiencia preliminar para el 9 de abril a las 8:30 de la mañana, también por medio de la plataforma Zoom. Pero si usted sale en libertad bajo fianza, le enviarán la notificación de su próxima audiencia por correo.
Okay.
Okay. Do you have any other questions of me, ma'am?
¿Tiene usted alguna pregunta más para mí, señora?
No.
No.
Okay.
Oh, sí, perdón.
Yes, I'm sorry.
En referencia de mis niños, ¿puedo yo acercarme a mis hijos?
As far as my children, may I have contact with my children?
And where are they currently?
¿Dónde están ellos actualmente, señora?
Con su papá.
With their dad.
Okay. And is that the gentleman that you were alleged to be in altercation with?
Es el señor con el cual presuntamente tuvo usted el altercado.
Sí.
Yes.
Okay. Then I'm going to have to tell you at this point, no, ma'am, until you are able to get with your lawyer and your lawyer can tell you how you may be able to get this modified to allow you contact with your children.
Entonces, por el momento le tengo que decir no, señora, hasta que usted pueda hablar con su abogado y él le puede indicar cómo modificar las condiciones de esta orden de fianza.
All right. Do you have any other questions, ma'am?
¿Tiene alguna pregunta más, señora?
No.
No.
All right. Good luck to you, ma'am.
Muy bien, buena suerte, señora.
Gracias.
Thank you.
All right. If I could have Mr. Moore up next, please.
Yes, he's coming up, right, Your Honor.
All right. And are you Mr. Moore?
¿Es
Yes.
usted el señor Mora?
Say it.
Yes.
So, Mr. Moore, you are charged here with one count of criminal trespass as a misdemeanor.
Bueno, señor Mora, a usted se le ha imputado un cargo de intrusión ilegal como un delito menor.
Okay. And your bond amount for that, sir, is $2,000.
La fianza para ese delito es $2,000.
And you are to stay away from the address of 229 Brookview Drive here in Clayton County.
No puede acercarse a la dirección en el 229 de la Brookwood Drive, aquí en el condado de Clayton.
Mr. Moore, are you currently working?
¿Está trabajando actualmente, señor?
Say it.
Yes.
And how much are you making per month, sir?
¿Cuánto está ganando el mes?
4,000.
$4,000.
Okay. Do you have any children, sir?
¿Tiene hijos, señor?
No. Nice. No, aquí.
No.
Okay. So
Not yet.
unfortunately, I am not going to be able to give you a lawyer free of charge. So you will have to hire your own lawyer if you desire for your case.
Lamentablemente no voy a poder designar un abogado de oficio para usted, entonces va a tener que contratar un abogado para su caso.
Now, lastly, we discussed a preliminary hearing. Would you like me to give you a hearing date or would you like to waive that hearing?
Por último, hablamos, señor, de la audiencia preliminar. ¿Quisiera que yo fije la fecha de la audiencia o quisiera usted renunciar a la audiencia?
Renunciar.
I will waive.
All right. I'm going to show here that you have waived your hearing. And so that means the deputies will have a piece of paper for you to sign.
Muy bien, voy a indicar aquí que usted ha renunciado a la audiencia, entonces los alguaciles le van a poner a firmar un documento.
All right. Do you have any other questions of me, sir?
¿Tiene alguna
No.
pregunta más para mí? No.
All right. Well, that's all I have, sir. Good luck to you.
Es todo lo que tengo para usted, señor. Gracias. Buena suerte. Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Ms. Toll.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Sure.
Have a great day.
All right. You too.
Would you like to go along with everyone that's on Jots first?
Yes, sir. I am showing Miss Allen should be first. Yes.
Okay, we have Alan.
Well, I have paperwork here if I haven't used it.
Johnson.
Yep, it should be Allen Johnson and then Parsons, female. Allen Johnson Parsons. Are you Miss Allen?
Yes, sir.
All right, so Miss Allen, you're here Allen, you're here this morning charged with 1 count of battery family violence, 1 count of simple assault family violence, and then also 1 count of interference with government property, and then a 2nd count of interference with government property. Your bond amount on the battery is $3,500. Your bond amount on the simple assault is $2,500, and your bond amount for each count of interference with government property is $5,000 apiece. Your total bond, ma'am, is $16,000. You also have special conditions, ma'am. You are to stay away from, I believe these are your relatives that you allege to have gotten into an altercation with. That's Gordon and Wanda Allen. And you're also to stay away from the address of 7587 Bidwell Court. And so, as I said earlier, if that's where you're living, ma'am, before this happened, you make your bond, you need to get with the sheriff's office within 10 days of your release, and they can escort you to that address to get your items until your case is closed. Do you understand, ma'am? Okay. Now, lastly, you are charged with felonies here, ma'am. And so that means your next court date, you're automatically given your right to a preliminary hearing. Your next court date is going to be, if you don't make your bond, April 8th of 2024 at 8:30 a.m. And that's going to be via Zoom. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
I see here that you are working, ma'am. How much money are you making per month?
I work part-time at UPS, so about 300 a week, which is
Okay, so about 12,000 to 1,200 without taxes. So I am gonna go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer here this morning. So you will have a lawyer, ma'am, free of charge that can help you on your case, okay? All right, ma'am, do you have any other questions for me about anything?
Is there a possibility I can get a signature line?
No, ma'am, not with those charges. All right, anything else I can answer for you?
No, sir.
All right, ma'am, well, that's all I have for you. Good luck to you.
Come over here to the table. Next.
Next up should be Miss Shamaya Johnson.
Your
Are
Honor,
you Miss Johnson?
I'm sorry, Your Honor, did Miss Allen waive? her
No, she has had felony charges, so she didn't have a right to it.
Gotcha.
Are you Miss Johnson?
Yes, sir.
Ms. Johnson, you are charged with 1 count of speeding in a construction zone, 1 count of driving with no license, and then 1 count of giving false information. Now, I've had a chance to look at the information involved on your case here, ma'am. And so I am gonna go ahead and release you here this morning. So you should be released here shortly sometime today. Do you understand that?
Sir.
Now, I do need you to understand, ma'am, because you are being released today, that does mean that you're going to have to make sure that we have the best known address for you here at the sheriff's office so that when you are released, your next court date is going to be sent to you in the mail. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
And so I see here you're making about $4,800 a month.
Yes, sir.
Okay, so based on that, ma'am, you do not qualify for a court-appointed lawyer. And so what that means is if you would like a lawyer to help you on your case, you will have to hire your own. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
All right, ma'am. Do you have any questions for me about anything?
No, sir.
All right, then, Ms. Johnson, that's all I have for you this morning. Good luck to you, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Table.
All right, it should be Ms. Parsons, Wilson, and then Wingfield.
Already have them all lined up for you.
All right, are you Ms. Parsons?
Yes, Your Honor.
So, Ms. Parsons here, you are charged with 1 count of speeding, 1 count of driving with suspended license, and 1 count of expired tag. Ma'am, I was taking a look at your criminal history or lack thereof this morning. And as a result of that, ma'am, I am gonna go ahead and release you this morning from custody. So you'll get out sometime later today. Do you understand that? Oh,
Yeah.
Deputy, I'm sorry. Excuse me, the Miss Johnson, she waived, so she's gonna need to sign a waiver.
Thank you, Your Honor.
Yep. All right, as will this one here, Miss Parsons. So Ms. Parsons, I am going to go ahead and release you this morning because of your lack of history. And so I tell you that, ma'am, just to make sure you know that upon your release, ma'am, you need to make sure that they have your best and last known address. And so so you'll make sure you get your next court date, okay? Other than that, the only other thing I need to talk with you about here, I see that you are working and you're making it says about $1,400 a month. Is that correct?
Give or take, yes.
Okay. So based on that, ma'am, I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer this morning, and that'll be free of charge to assist you on your case. And ma'am, that's really all I have for you here this morning. So you're going to be released. I've given you a lawyer. There's going to be a piece of paper there that the deputies are going to need for you to sign. And once you sign that piece of paper, ma'am, you're good to go.
All right, thank you, Your Honor.
All right. Good luck to you, ma'am.
Next lady up.
All right. And you should be Miss Wilson. Is that correct?
No, sir, Ms. Wingfield.
Oh, I'm sorry. Yes, Miss Wingfield. Yes. Give me 1 second here, Miss Wingfield.
Okay.
All right. So Miss Wingfield, you are charged with 1 count of impersonating an officer. Your bond amount here, ma'am, is going to be $3,500. Now, I've been looking at the information you provided here. Are you currently working, ma'am?
No, sir.
Okay. When was the last time that you worked?
Last year, June, when I was going in for CO.
Okay. So based on that, ma'am, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to appoint you a court-appointed lawyer here this morning. And so you'll get a lawyer free of charge to assist you on your case, okay?
Okay.
Now, the last thing I need to ask you, because you are charged with misdemeanors, you have a right to that preliminary hearing that I talked about, or you can waive that preliminary hearing. That's up to you. And I'll send your case directly on up to the prosecutor. It's just really your decision. What would you like to do, ma'am? Would you like to have your hearing or would you like to waive your hearing?
I'll waive it.
All right. So, ma'am, I'm going to show here, and Deputy Parsons needed, I don't know if you heard me before, but those last two before Miss Wingfield here should have both waived. So they should both have signed.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right. And so, Miss Wingfield, I am going to show here that you are waiving as well. And so the deputy will have a piece of paper for you to sign. And then once you sign that piece of paper, Miss Wingfield, that's all I've got for you this morning, ma'am.
Okay, thank you.
All right. Thank you. All right. And are you Miss Wilson?
Yes, sir.
All right. Give me 1 moment here, Miss Wilson. All right, so Ms. Wilson, you are charged with 1 count of battery family violence, or excuse me, simple battery family violence. Your bond amount is $2,500, ma'am. You do have special conditions, and those conditions include to stay away from the alleged victim, Mr. Denard Wilson, and then to also stay away from this address here where this was alleged to have happened at 5823 Wagoneer Walk. Again, that's 5823 Wagoneer Walk. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, looking at your information here that you provided, Ms. Wilson, are you currently working?
No, sir, I received unemployment.
Okay, so based on that, ma'am, I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer this morning, so you'll get a lawyer free of charge. Last question I have for you. I talked about the preliminary hearings here. Do you want to have your hearing or waive your hearing, ma'am?
Wait.
All right, so I'm going to show that you are waiving your right to your preliminary hearing this morning. And so what that means is they're going to have a piece of paper, the deputies, for you to sign as soon as you and I get off here. And as soon as you sign that document, ma'am, that'll be all I have for you this morning. Do you have any questions of me?
No, sir.
All right, ma'am, that's all I have. Good luck.
All right, thank you.
Yeah.
All right, Your Honor, if you would like, we can continue with the ladies that are not on JOTS.
Yes, I'm showing, I have first up Miss Sharon Torres. Just staying in order, that's what I have.
There's also before Torres, there's Daviana Standox. but she's a
Um,
fugitive.
Okay, that was the female. Okay, yep, we can
Yes.
do her. I have her in the mail set. Okay, yep, you want to bring her?
Let's have a seat.
And then, so it'll be her and then Miss Torres.
Yes. And then Miss Williams will be last.
All right. And ma'am, I don't want to mispronounce your name. Is it Daviana? And how do you pronounce your last name?
It's Daviana Standoaks.
All right, so Miss Standoaks, my name is Judge Thorpe. I'm here just to yours is a little different, to go over some information with you.
Yes,
Now, I have before me here a document which alleges that you had an outstanding charge out of Union County in North Carolina for a charge of larceny. Now, you don't have to talk to me about whether you think it's correct, it's not, you're guilty, you're not guilty. That's for North Carolina, okay?
correct.
What we are here to talk about are two things. You got some options. Option one is, Judge, I'd like to go back to North Carolina within the next 30 days and deal with this charge in North Carolina. And then I will call, or the sheriff's office will call North Carolina, and they will come get you in 30 days. If they don't come get you in those 30 days, we release you in Clayton, and then it's up to them. Okay, that's option one. Option two is, you tell me, Judge, you know what? I don't think that North Carolina's process was correct, that they've gone about this process to come get me. And I would like a hearing here in Clayton County. And if you want that hearing, you get up to 90 days. That means North Carolina gets up to 90 days to get it in place, and then you'll have the hearing. Okay, so option one is, again, send me back to North Carolina. If they don't come get you in 30 days, we release you. Option two, you want to have that hearing here, and it can take up to 90 days for you to have it. What would you like to do, ma'am?
Option one, but I've never in my life been to North Carolina, but I want to go though.
Okay. Okay, now remember what I said. You don't want to get into that with me. So what that would be is, it sounds like that's something you'll want to talk with your lawyer once you get back to North Carolina. But let me tell you this, man. So there's going to be a document that you're going to have to sign there. The deputy's going to hand you. It's going to be the same document. You're going to have to sign it about 6 times. But once you sign that, North Carolina will be notified, and then they will decide if they're going to come get you or not. Okay.
Yes, they got my name a little wrong on here, but I will sign it because I'm ready to go.
Okay. All right, ma'am. Well, if you don't have anything else with me, ma'am, good luck to you.
Thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
Sign all the time. There's 7 pages.
And are you Miss Torres?
Yes, sir, I am.
Ms. Torres, you were charged with 1 count of battery and 1 count of cruelty to children. The battery has a bond amount of $5,000 and the cruelty to children of bond amount of $5,000. You do have a special condition, and that's to stay away from a Miss Linda Ortiz, and as well as the address of 4905 Courtney Drive. Now, as I said earlier, if that is somewhere you were living prior to this happening, please remember that it is your job to get with the sheriff's office if you make your bond, and then have them go over to that address with you to get anything that belongs to you. Do you understand?
Yes, sir. That's not where I live. That's a pediatrician's office.
Okay, well then there you go. Last question I have, or a couple questions I've got. One, I see here you are not working. So ma'am, I am gonna go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer, and you're gonna get that lawyer free of charge to help you with your case, okay?
Okay.
Now, because you were charged with misdemeanors, you again have the right to that preliminary hearing that I talked about. You can have the hearing, I can set the date, or you can waive the hearing, and I can move your case on faster up to the prosecutor.
No, I don't want to waive my hearing. I just want to get a bond and get out.
All right, so I'm going to go ahead and show that you do not want me to waive, and you want to set your hearing. So if you don't get out, your next court date is going to be April 9th at 8:30 a.m., and that's going to be via Zoom, okay? If you don't get out, your next court date will be April 9th at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. If you do get out, then that court date will go away, and then they will tell you, you'll get in the mail when your next court date's going to be, okay?
Yes.
Do you have any questions of me at all, ma'am?
No, I don't.
All right, ma'am. So I've gone ahead. We've set that bond at $10,000. I've advised you of the person you're not to have contact with. I've also advised you that you're to stay away from that particular office, and I've appointed you a lawyer this morning. So if you don't have any other questions, ma'am, You are good to go. Thank you.
Thank you. No.
This is Torrance, Sharon Torrance. This is Williams. Go ahead.
All right, and are you Miss Williams?
Yes, I am.
All right, so Miss Williams, my name is Judge Thorpe, and I am here to advise you. You've been charged with 1 count of simple battery. You for a bond amount of $5,000, ma'am. You are also have a special condition that's to stay away from Eric Chester and the address of 5758 Highway 138, apartment A109. So if that's where you were living, as I said earlier, ma'am, if you make your bond, please advise the sheriff's office that you need assistance in going to that address because you cannot go to that address alone. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, based on the information you provided, ma'am, I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer this morning to
Okay.
help you. And so that's going to be free of charge. Last question I have for you, ma'am, is your preliminary hearing. Do you want to have your hearing or do you want to waive that hearing?
I'll waive it.
All right, ma'am. So I'm going to show that you are waiving your right to a preliminary hearing. And so that means the deputies there are going to have a document. You'll need to sign that document showing that you waived. And once you sign that document, ma'am, that's all I've got for you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
What's your name?
Jamila Dixon.
Your Honor, how you doing?
Good. Yes, sir.
Did you need Jamita Dixon? I know she had first appearance yesterday.
No, we ended up, I put Miss Dixon on. I did want to tell her something.
Okay, thank you.
I got some, Miss Dixon, I got some good news for you.
Okay, good.
I dismissed that case. So
Thank you.
the one that I told you we were gonna do today, I found it later that day. Let me tell you this. The officer who did that warrant did it incorrectly. And so
Okay.
there was some information missing. And so I
Okay,
need to tell you, I dismissed it, but it doesn't mean that that case is gone forever. They could decide to bring it back, right? If they want to.
okay,
You know, I don't know that they will, but right now, the only thing you got pending is the case we went over yesterday. That other one, it was I believe, a simple battery. It is
okay.
as of right now dismissed.
That's a blessing. Okay, thank you.
Yes, ma'am.
All right, you have a nice one.
You too. All right, so
All right.
what we'll do, deputy, is we'll just jump back on, actually, let's stay off Jots right now since we're off.
Okay, so I'm guessing the first male is ARP.
Arp, yep, that's who I'm showing. Yes, sir.
Give me 1 second, Your Honor. Got a little too happy. Would you like one of these sandwiches?
Yeah.
Go ahead and grab one.
Nobody, okay?
I've got Arp and then Nathan Burks.
Who was first here?
Arp, A-A-R-P, and Burke, B-U-R-K-E-S. Arp, I've got Arp, Burks, and Evans.
Yeah, and I'll check, please. Can't see back, follow.
Mr. Hart. Michael Hart. Bring Kevin Hart, little brother up here.
Let me get Burks, Agent Burks. The Christopher Evans. Christopher Evans. Ricky Franklin.
Stand up here in front of the camera. You said right in front of the camera, right there.
Right here.
All right, are you Mr. Arp, is it?
Yes.
So, Mr. Arp, you were charged with 1 count of felony possession of prohibited items here in the Clayton County Jail, sir. Your bond amount is $2,500. Because this is a felony, if you don't make your bond on this, your next court date will be April 8th at your preliminary hearing, and that'll be 8:30 a.m. and that's via Zoom, sir. I have reviewed this information while I was waiting on you to come out. Based on the information you provided to me, sir, you do qualify for a court-appointed lawyer. And so I have gone ahead and I'm going to appoint a lawyer for you on your case, okay?
Okay,
Do you have any questions for me, sir?
no, I know.
All right, sir, that's all I've got for you. Good luck to you.
How much you said it was again? I'm sorry.
2,500.
All right, thank you.
Your Honor, did he play?
No, he is a felony.
All right.
All right. And then next up should be Burks, Evans, and Franklin.
No, he going back. Go back to seven.
Said Burke.
Burks, Evans, and Franklin.
Yes.
All right, are you Mr. Burks?
Yes.
All right, so Mr. Burks here, you are charged with 1 count of theft by shoplifting, sir. That is as a misdemeanor. Your bond amount is $1,500. I see here, you're not working, is that correct?
I want to work though.
Okay, so as of right now, sir, I'm gonna go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer here free of charge. Now, you do have a special condition, sir. That means you have to stay away from the airport until your case is resolved, unless you are traveling or you get a job at the airport. Do you understand?
Yeah.
Now, lastly, because you are charged with a misdemeanor, sir, you have a right to a preliminary hearing, or I can waive that hearing and send it to the prosecutor's office. Would you like me to do? Would you like to waive that hearing or have that hearing?
Wait a here.
All right, so I'm going to show here this morning, sir, that you requested to waive your hearing. And so because of that, the deputies are going to have a document for you to sign. Once you sign that document, sir, then you are good to go this morning. All right, thank you.
Okay.
All right, next up should be Evans and Franklin.
Yeah, we're doing the mail.
Right here.
Hold on one second. Hold on. Hey,
All right, are you Mr. Evans?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Evans, you are charged with 1 count of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, 1 count of possession of over an ounce of marijuana, and then also an open container violation. Do you understand that?
You said over an ounce.
Yes, it's got over an ounce here. Oh, excuse me, we changed it. It's less than an ounce. My apologies. So your bond amount here on the marijuana is $1,000. Your bond amount on the open container is $500. However, I'm showing here, sir, that you're on probation out of Fulton County. Because you're on probation, I'm not allowed to give you a bond on that felony firearm charge. Do you understand that?
Yes.
I see you are not working. Is that correct?
Yes.
All right. So because you are not working, I am going to appoint you a court-appointed lawyer free of charge, so you don't have to pay for your lawyer. Now, because you are on a no bond status on that felony, you're going to have 2 court dates coming up. Your first court date is going to be your preliminary hearing. That's going to be April 8th, 8:30 a.m., and that's going to be via Zoom. Your second court date is going to be April 12th at 8:30 a.m., and that is also going to be via Zoom. That's going to be your bond hearing for them to reconsider your bond that we talked about here today. Do you understand? Do you understand, sir?
Yes, sir.
Any questions about anything?
No, sir.
All right, so you're on a no bond on the felony, $1,500 on the other 2 charges. I've appointed you a lawyer, and your upcoming court dates are the 8th and 12th of next month. Good luck to you, sir.
Go ahead, grab your neck back.
All right, after Franklin, it should be Howell and Marbury.
Ask him about it.
Hey, Your Honor, I do have one question I need to ask you.
Yes, sir.
Do you have a Torres Gibbons on your list for today?
I set it aside because when I wasn't sure who that was. What did I do with it? I had the paperwork for it, Torres. Can we do that one last so I can circle back and I can find that paperwork?
Yes, Your Honor, that was suggested.
Okay. Are you Mr. Franklin?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Franklin, you are charged with 1 count of possession of a firearm by a convicted felon, 1 count of driving with a suspended license. The suspended license charge, Mr. Franklin, carries a bond amount of $1,500.
Yes,
And
sir.
then the firearm charge carries a bond amount of $10,000.
Yes,
So
sir.
your total bond is $11,500. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now,
You wanna wait for the rest of that.
I see you're making about $3,000 a month. Is that correct?
Yes, sir.
So because of that, sir, you do not qualify for a court-appointed lawyer. And so that means if you would like a lawyer to assist you on your case, you will have to hire your own. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, last thing I need to tell you, sir, if you are unable to make your bond, your next court date is going to be April 8th at 8:30 a.m., and that's going to be via Zoom. Again, that's April 8th, 8:30 a.m., and that's via Zoom. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Do you have any questions of me, sir?
No, sir.
All right, that's all I've got for you, sir. Good luck to you.
Thank you. Oh, my bad.
Did you waive it?
It should be Mr. He's a felon. He didn't have a chance to wait.
Okay, yeah, thank you, Your Honor.
It should be Howell, Marbury, and Raines.
You know, how to get back.
Yes.
Give me seven.
Are you Mr. Howell?
State your name.
Yes.
All right, so Mr. Howell,
Make sure the judge can hear you.
Mr. Howell, you're charged with one count of driving with a suspended license, one count of possession of marijuana, and then one count of felony violation of a Georgia Controlled Substances Act. The bond amount for the license is $1,500. The bond amount for less than an ounce is $1,000. The bond amount for the felony drugs is $5,000. And so your total bond amount is $7,500. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right, I see here you're making about $2,400 a month, is that correct?
Somewhere around up in there, yes.
Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer this morning, free of charge to you, sir. So you will have a lawyer free to help you on your case. So I just need to let you know, because you are charged with a felony, your next court date, if you do not make your bond, is going to be April 8th at 8:30 a.m. and that's going to be via Zoom. Do you understand?
Yes.
Again, April 8th, 8:30 a.m. via Zoom on a $7,500 bond, and I've given you a lawyer, sir. Do you have any questions of me?
No.
All right, that's all I've got. Good luck to you, sir.
What's your last name?
How?
Are you gonna mess? Yeah. You got what I'm saying?
Believe it should be Marbury and then Rains.
You go through the door, stay to the right, so you can see them. What's your last name?
Are you Mr. Marbury?
Marbury. Yes.
Mr. Marbury, you are charged with one count of possession of less than 1 ounce of marijuana and one count of felony drugs. The marijuana carries a bond amount of $1,000, the felony drugs $3,500, for a total bond of $4,500. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right, based on the information that you provided, sir, you do not qualify for a court-appointed attorney, so you will have to hire your own attorney if you would like one for your case. Do you understand that?
Yes, I do.
All right, lastly, I just need to let you know, sir, because you are charged with a felony, your next court date is going to be your preliminary hearing date. So if you don't make your bond, the next court date you have will be April 8th. That'll be at 8:30 a.m. and that'll be via Zoom like we are right now, okay?
Yes.
All right, do you have any questions of me, sir?
No, I don't.
All right, that's all I have, sir. Good luck to you then.
All right.
Last name?
Marbury.
You go back and say. You got what's the name? That's the last-
And are you Mr. Rains?
Yes, sir.
All right, so Mr. Rains, you were charged with one count of simple battery. Your bond amount is $2,500. Sir, you do have special conditions here, and they are to stay away from Destiny Foster, to stay away from the address of 505 Fayetteville Road. Do you understand that?
Yeah, man. Yes, sir.
Now, based on the information you provided here, sir, I am gonna go ahead, I'm gonna appoint you a court-appointed lawyer, so you'll have a lawyer free of charge, okay?
Yes, sir. This is.
Lastly, because you were charged with misdemeanors, if you remember earlier, I talked about the preliminary hearing. Would you like to have your preliminary hearing, or would you like me to waive it and send it to the prosecutor, your case?
Send it to the prosecutor.
All right, so based on that, you're saying send it to the prosecutor. I'm going to show that you're requesting me to waive your preliminary hearing. And so the deputies there are gonna have a piece of paper for you to sign. And once you sign that piece of paper, sir, you're free to go.
Are you coming? Next man up, next man up.
Hold
So we should be back on Jots. I'm showing Melvin Brown as being first.
Melvin Brown, come on up.
All right, are you Mr. Brown?
Yes, Your Honor. How you doing?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you this morning?
I'm doing great.
All right, so Mr. Brown, you were charged in this accusation, or not accusation rather, but the allegations by the officer with 2 counts of cruelty to children, 1 in the first, 1 in the third. You also are charged with 2 counts of battery family violence, 1 count of obstruction, and 1 count of stalking. Do you understand that, sir?
Yes, Your Honor, I do.
Now, as to the cruelty to children in the first, your bond amount is $7,500. As to the cruelty in the third, it's $3,500. As to the battery family violence, it's $3,500. As to the stalking, it's $7,500. As to the obstruction, it's $20,000. And as to the second battery, it's $3,500. So your total bond, sir, is $27,500. Now, you do have special conditions, sir. And that is to stay away from these 2 folks, Sharika Cotton or Sherika Cotton and Courtney Stillwell. You're also to stay away from the address of 2024 Mount Zion Road. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, as I mentioned earlier, if that's where you were living, sir, before this happened, please keep in mind you are to stay away from that address. If you make your bond, sir, please let the sheriff's office know, and they will escort you to that address so you can get your items that belong with you, okay? Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
You don't want to go to that address alone because you can pick up new charges, okay?
Yes.
Now I see here that you are currently working and you said you're earning about 4,000 a month. Is that right?
Yes, Your Honor. I work at Bear Paint in Midtown.
Okay. So based on that information, sir, you do not qualify for a court-appointed lawyer here. So I am not going to be able to appoint you a lawyer. So that means that if you want one for your case, you will have to hire your own lawyer. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Now, should you not make your bond, last thing we need to talk about, your next court date is going to be April 8th at 8:30 a.m. And that's going to be via Zoom. Again, that's April 8th at 8:30 a.m. And that's going to be via Zoom. Do you understand?
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, sir. Any other questions that you have for me about anything?
No, that's it.
All right, sir. Well, that's all I have for you. Good luck to you. Next up should be Chung, Hardnett, and then Holmes. Are you Mr. Chung?
I am.
All right, so Mr. Chung, you were charged with 1 count of theft by shoplifting, 1 count of public drunk. The bond amount as it relates to the theft by shoplifting is $1,500. As it relates to the public drunk, it's $1,000. So your total bond, sir, is $2,500. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, based on the information you provided, sir, I am going to go ahead and appoint you a court-appointed lawyer, so you will get a lawyer free of charge. The last question I have for you, sir, is that preliminary hearing I talked about. Do you want to have that hearing or waive that hearing?
I want to waive that hearing.
All right, so I'm going to show, sir, that you requested that I waive your hearing. And so what's going to happen then is the deputies are going to have a form for you to sign. Once you sign that form, then that's all you got this morning, okay?
Is there any way I can get the bond lowered down?
No, sir, that's about as low as I can go on that. Okay?
Yeah.
All right, good luck to you, Mr. Chung.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Can I grab my bag, my neck back?
Hey, grab it. And come back.
You need to sign.
Are you Mr. Harnett?
Yes, sir. How you doing, Owen?
I'm doing well, sir. How are you?
Good, good.
So, Mr. Harnett, you were initially charged with 1 count of reckless conduct, 1 count of possession of a firearm during the commission of a crime, and then 1 count of theft by receiving of stolen property. I've reviewed the information that was provided by the officers in the warrant against you. Based on some unfortunate mishaps with the law here, I am dismissing the felony firearm charge. So the only charges you have remaining are the reckless conduct and the theft by receipt of stolen property. Do you understand that?
Thank you, Your Honor. Thank you. Thank you.
All right.
Thank you.
So based on the information you provided to me this morning, sir, a couple things I need to tell you. One, based on how much you make, I cannot appoint you a court-appointed lawyer here this morning, so you will have to hire your own lawyer if you so desire for your case. And if for whatever reason you were not able to make your bond, your next court date is going to be April 8th at 8:30 a.m. and that's going to be via Zoom. Again, that's April 8th, that's 8:30 a.m. and that's via Zoom, okay?
Thanks, sir.
All right, do you have any questions for me, sir?
Okay, how much you say the bond would be again?
It was, give me 1 second, I'm sorry, I just left that screen. 13,000. 8 on the firearm, excuse me, 8 on the theft, 500,000 on the reckless conduct for a total of 13,000.
Then that's gonna be 10% of it.
15%. So if you use a bonding company, you're looking at about 1,500 total that they would pay for, that you would pay them, and then they would pay the rest of it for you.
I truly thank you, Your Honor.
Yes, sir. Any other questions I can answer for you?
No, sir.
All right. Good luck to you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you.
And Your Honor, did Mr. Harnett waive his?
He did not. That was a
Okay.
felony case.
Thank you. Next.
Well, okay.
He should be Holmes, Rivers, and then Smith. Are you Mr. Holmes?
Yes, ma'am.
Are you Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
Okay, so Mr. Holmes, you're charged with one count of aggravated assault, one count of simple battery, simple battery, family violence here. As it relates to the aggravated assault, your bond amount is $25,000. As it relates to the simple battery, your bond amount is $3,500. So your total bond amount is $28,500. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Now, you do have special conditions, sir, and those will be to stay away from Dewaya Flander and also from the address of 5795 Sheldon Court, and that's in apartment B. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Now, because of the information you provided, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to appoint you a court-appointed lawyer. So you will get a lawyer free of charge, okay?
Okay.
Lastly, I need you to keep in mind that your next court date is going to be April 8th at 8:30 a.m. and that's going to be via Zoom. So if you don't make your bond and you're still in custody and we get to April, your next time that you would be in court is again going to be April 8th, 8:30 a.m. and that's going to be via Zoom. Do you understand that, Mr. Holmes?
Yes.
Do you have any questions of me, Mr. Holmes?
No.
All right, sir. Well, that's all I have for you, sir. Good luck to you. All right. And is it Mr. Rivers?
Yes, sir.
All right, Mr. Rivers, give me 1 second here, please. All right, so Mr. Rivers, you were charged here with one count of loitering or prowling, one count of burglary in the first degree, and one count of obstruction of an officer. Now, because you are charged with the felonies, your next court date, sir, is going to be April 8th at 8:30 a.m. via Zoom. Now, as it relates to your bond, sir, your bond amount as to the loitering is $1,000. As to the burglary is $15,000. And as to the obstruction, it's $2,000 for a total of bond of $18,000. Do you understand?
Yes, sir.
Now, you will have special conditions, sir. You're going to have to stay away from this address where this was alleged to have happened, that being 8446 Highway 85. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Lastly, because of the information you provided to me, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to appoint you a court-appointed lawyer this morning. So you will have a lawyer free of charge to help you on your case, okay?
All right.
All right, sir. Do you have any other questions for me about anything?
No, sir.
All right, sir. I have gone ahead and given you all the information you need this morning. Good luck to you.
All right.
All right, good morning. And are you Adrian or Brandon?
Brandon.
Okay. All right, so Mr. Smith, you were charged here this morning in one count of loitering or prowling and then one count of stalking. Do you understand that?
Yes.
All right, now as it relates to your bond amount, your bond amount as to the loitering is $1,000 and your bond amount as to the stalking is $10,000 for a total bond of $11,000. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Now, you do have special conditions, and those are going to consist of your requirement that you stay away from, I believe it's Dashia Rivera, is how you say her name. And you're also going to have to stay away from the address of 866 Fountain Circle. Do you understand that?
Yes.
Now, lastly, because of the information that you provided, sir, I am going to go ahead and I'm going to appoint you a court-appointed lawyer. You will get a lawyer free of charge, okay?
Yes, sir.
Now, you are charged with misdemeanors here. So you have the right to that preliminary hearing I talked about, or you can choose to waive your right to that preliminary hearing. And then I will go ahead and send your case directly on up to the prosecutor's office for review. Which would you like to do, sir? Would you like to have that hearing or would you like to waive your right to that hearing?
I will waive it. P77.
All right, sir. So I'm going to show here that you are waiving your right to the hearing. And so because you're waiving your right, there's a document that you will have to sign that the deputies have there. And once you sign that, you'll be good to go this morning. There won't be anything else that we have, okay?
Okay, thank you.
All right, good luck to you.
Hold on 1 second. Yeah, I got Adrian Smith in the route.
Okay. All right, that's perfectly fine. I need one moment anyhow to, and Mr. Smith there, Brandon waved, so he'll need to sign.
He need
Okay,
to sign on.
Yeah,
Johnson,
he-
but it's not up there.
His Johnson, he's not able to sign Johnson this time for now.
Brandon,
Yeah, disregard your honor, he just came back on.
okay, okay.
Step to your license.
And is it Adrian Smith?
Yeah.
Okay, give me 1 second here, Mr. Smith.
Mr. Smith.
Yeah.
It didn't take.
All right, Mr. Smith, are you working right now?
I'm cool.
What's that?
Huh?
Are you working?
No.
Okay. So Mr. Smith, you are charged with 1 count of battery here, sir. Your bond amount is $3,500, okay?
Yeah.
Now, I'm gonna go ahead on your case. I'm gonna appoint you a lawyer free of charge that's gonna help you on your case, okay? And Mr. Smith, I'm gonna tell you, the guy that you were alleged to have gotten into this with, you're gonna have to stay away from him, okay? And you're also gonna have to stay away from the address of 5930 Highway 85, apartment 802. So if you live there and you get out, you make sure you tell the police to go over there with you to get your stuff, okay? Now, lastly, about this preliminary hearing, do you want me to set your preliminary hearing date or do you want to waive the hearing?
I'll wait.
All right, sir. So I'm going to show that you are waiving your preliminary hearing here this morning. And so the deputies are going to have a sheet for you to sign up there. And once you sign that sheet, sir, that's all we have this morning, okay?
Tomorrow.
All right, good luck to you. All right, should be, are you Mr. Taylor?
Yes.
All right, so Mr. Taylor, give me 1 second here. Let me grab your stuff. Mr. Taylor, you're charged with 2 counts of felony possession of drugs, 1 count of drug-related objects, 1 count of no insurance, 1 count of possession of over an ounce of marijuana, and then a third count of violation of the Georgia Controlled Substances Act. Now, Mr. Taylor, I was reviewing your case here this morning, and there was some information lacking on the drug-related objects, so I had dismissed that charge, okay?
Okay.
Now, as to your bond amount, sir, the felony drugs carries a bond amount of $6,000. The second felony drugs carries a bond amount of $3,500. Insurance charge carries a bond amount of $1,000. The possession of marijuana over an ounce, sir, is going to carry a bond amount of $3,000. The possession of the final felony drugs is going to carry a bond amount of $3,500. And so your total bond, sir, is $17,000. Do you understand that?
Yes, sir.
Lastly here, I see you are working. You got 3 children and you're making about $2,500 a month. Is that right?
Yes.
All right. So based on that, sir, I am going to go ahead. I'm going to appoint you a court-appointed lawyer. So you will have a lawyer free of charge to you that will assist you on your case. Okay.
And you said it was 17?
17,000. Yes, sir. Now, the last thing I just need to tell you, I don't think I mentioned, again, that court date is going to be April 8th at 8:30 a.m. And that's going to be via Zoom. Again, that's April 8th, 8:30 a.m. via Zoom will be your next court date. Your bond is $17,500. I've gone ahead and given you a court-appointed lawyer. Do you have any questions of me about anything, sir?
How do I get the information for the Zoom when I bond out?
Well, so what's going to happen? Let's say you bond out on this case, then you'll automatically waive that right to that hearing. And so that means the next court date that you have, they're going to send it to you in the mail at the last known address that you give the sheriff. Okay, so you won't have that hearing anymore if you get out, okay?
Okay, cool.
All right, any other questions I can answer for you?
No.
All right, good luck to you, sir.
Your
All
Honor,
right. Yes, sir.
I do have one notification to give you. The next person up who is Mr. Toppin Joseph.
Uh-huh.
He is no longer here. He is a BNB.
And what is B&B?
He's already bonded out, Your Honor.
Okay, he's already, okay. All right, sorry about that. I'm not familiar with that one. All right.
I apologize.
No problem. I actually was going to release him today anyhow. So he is good to go.
And we have
And-
just Mr. Webb is,
Should be Mr.
The
Webb
last
and then
person.
that one that you mentioned.
yes, we have to try to see if we can locate that person. They're
Okay,
not
so-
here inside of the jail. This should be a parent by his
Just
own.
stand to the right so they can see you.
All right, so Webb,
So, let's come on, state your name.
all right, are you Mr. Webb?
Yes, Your Honor.
Hey, so we don't.
All right, so Mr. Webb, you are charged with 1 count of DUI, 1 count of seatbelt violation, 1 count of failure to maintain lane. In this accusation by officers, these are all misdemeanors. The DUI carries a bond amount of $2,500, the seatbelt $500, and the failure to maintain lane $500 for a total bond amount of $3,500. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Sergeant.
Now, based on the information you provided, sir, I am not going to be able to appoint you a court-appointed lawyer. So that means if you do want a lawyer, you will have to hire your own. Do you understand that?
Yes, Your Honor.
Lastly, because you are charged with misdemeanor, sir, you have the right to that preliminary hearing that we talked about, or you can waive your right to the preliminary hearing, and I'll send your case on up to the prosecutor's office. Would you like to have that hearing or waive that hearing?
I would like to win.
All right, sir, so I'm going to show that you're requesting that we waive your preliminary hearing. And so based on that, sir, the deputy is gonna have a document for you to sign. Once you sign that document, sir, that'll be all we got for you this morning.
Thank you, Your Honor.
All right, thank you.
And Your Honor, in reference to the name of Mr. Gibbons,
Uh-huh,
he is bonded out.
okay, all right, so then I believe that's everyone then, is that correct?
Yes, Your Honor, that is correct.
All right, thank you so much for everything this weekend. You were excellent.
Okay, we don't have jots for Mr. Webb. Did it show up?
We're trying to see, you gotta sign.
You should be, yeah, it should be able to, oh, hold on, let me make sure I've done. So let's see, he said he wanted to waive.
Yes.
All right, it should be up there now. You should be able to see it.
Okay.
Yep.
Yes, we're good, Your Honor. Thank you
Okay.
so much.
All right, thank you so much.
All right.
All right, bye-bye.